kind corner. My name's Paul. You're not used to seeing me on this side of the camera. What we're doing is we're fixing a gumbo for our church for 200 people. A year ago, roughly a year ago, I had 3 pelvic aneurysms and I almost died. And this isn't just celebration that God saved my life and that the people that prayed for me, we go to a great church, not a good church, a great church, and they were on us, and prayer warriors were on us. And I'm not usually in a wheelchair anymore, but sitting here doing a lot of prep work for a long time, I sit in it because it's more comfortable. Normally I walk with a walker, so it's been a big thing. So what I'm doing now is just chopping onions and celery and bell pepper. The ratio you normally do is half of it is onions and then a quarter each of bell pepper and celery. So that's what we're doing. We're just doing the prep work now. We'll be doing the entire thing. We're doing a turkey and sausage gumbo. Like I say, for 200, we're cooking probably 19 pounds of turkey and then about, what, 15 pounds of sausage. And it's going to be a big one. We've got a bunch of our own homegrown okra in the freezer, ready to go. And so we'll film all of this all the way through it. Normally I'm on, like I said, I'm on the other side of that silly camera. Sounds like I'm shouting directions to Tina, but she asked me to, so don't think I'm being bossy. She said, don't let me forget the salt. So this is not new to me. I've cooked all my life. And when our boys were growing up, I probably did 80% of the cooking. Tina's a good cook. She really is. Although she never baked until now. And she's turned into a heck of a baker. But yeah, I miss cooking, and I'm finally getting to where I can stand or at least belly up to the stove a little bit. And so it's something I've always done. My mother liked cooking, I like cooking, and so I've done it. I can't remember not cooking. Okay, so we'll just get the rest of this chopped. We'll come back later. We don't want to take up a whole lot of space with this, but like I say, you do half of it onions and then a quarter each of. Hi, welcome back. We're starting to cut up the sausage now. We're going to do these under the broiler because we've got so many to do. Normally I would just fry them, but we cut them in discs about half to 3/4 of an inch thick, and we're going to lay them out on sheet pans and put them under the broiler. We got 2 kinds of sausage we're doing in this. We got this is spicy, and then we're going to do a mild sausage also. So we'll be back when.
Okay, we're cooking these in their broiler, and I've got one other pan in there now, and I'm turning these over so we can brown the other side of them. And anyway, we're going to brown the other side of these, and once they're all browned, then we'll have them available to put into our gumbo when we're ready to make it. We'll just set them aside in the refrigerator, already browned, and they'll be ready when we start to make our gumbo tomorrow morning. All right.
Okay, now we're peeling all our garlic. And when you're peeling a lot of garlic, this is something I found out online, actually. You peel all your garlic cloves, you leave them all there, put them between 2 bowls, and you just shake them. Then you stop and you pull out a couple clean cloves. And then you start again. There's another one. There's another one. There's one there. Get some of the detritus out of there, and okay, do it again. When you're doing a lot of cloves, this is a good way to do it.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I love that.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
It's not worth going to the trouble for doing one or 2 cloves, but when you're doing a bunch of them. But each time you open it up, you get 1 or 2 out.
That's two whole pods with the paper off of them. Quicker than I could get it off of just a couple of cloves.
Then if you get down and there's some that aren't coming off, it's just because that stem, all you gotta do is pull that stem off a little bit and then whack it. But there's only 3 left that didn't go through, so it's pretty amazing. It works really good.
Great job for little kids.
There's 2 more. And there's the last one.
Awesome.
So, that's it. We're going to keep going.
Good morning. I'm getting ready to make my roux for our gumbo. One of the shortcuts that I use is to use brown flour to start with. I've made some, but I'm going to put some more in the oven. I put this on a white plate so that I hope you can see the difference. This is the unbrowned flour, and this is the brown flour. See the difference in the color? The brown flour isn't very dark, but it'll darken up a lot more quickly when I put it into the oil. So this is going to save me about probably 20 minutes of standing there stirring by being able to start out with my brown flour. To make brown flour, I'm going to do a small batch for you here. The batch I have there was a big batch. I like to line my pan with some foil. This just makes it a little easier to remove the flour, and I'll show you after I've browned it. I'll show you why that's kind of a thing. I'm going to use about 2 cups of flour in this one, and I'm going to brown it at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. If you're using I'm just going to spread out my flour in my pan like that. Put it in the oven for 30 minutes at 350 degrees, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like when it comes out. Okay, I'm back. I have just taken my flour out of the oven. I baked these 2 cups for 15 minutes, and want to show you what happens when you do that. You'll smell it. You'll smell it baking, and that'll kind of surprise you because we're used to thinking of our baking smells as coming from mixtures. Flour itself has a very nice fragrance when it's baking. It doesn't look very dark at all. A little bit, just a slightly browned around the edges. But let me show you on my my little one that I had measured here. Let me bring out a piece. So you can see it's dark. You can see it's not very dark, but it's still been browned. The other interesting thing about what happens is, I wouldn't think there was any moisture in my flour, but after it's baked, it clumps into these big chunks. I think you can see this, so it has to be stirred up, and then I found the simplest thing for me to do is just to mash it with my potato masher, and get all of the lumps out of it that way. It doesn't have to be completely lump free, but it's best if you've got the more lumps out of it you've got, the better off you are. The less whisking you'll have to do when you go to make your roux. The cool thing about this is so my regular recipe, which I will post down in the comments for a family-sized recipe for my gumbo. But my regular recipe, it uses about 3/4 of a cup of this brown flour, to make the roux for it. So you make 2 cups full at a time, and then you just store the rest of it in a jar. And then next time you want to make gumbo, that part of it's out of the way. It's my understanding also that a lot of old time Cajun cooks would make up their roux, brown their flour in their oil, and then store all of that in the refrigerator and just pull it out as they needed it. So you can do it either way, but the brown flour just works great for me. And then I just brown it a little bit more when it's time to mix it with my oil. Okay. Now then, I'm going to put this in with my other that I had already browned. I have got this is about 10 cups of brown flour. We will find out how much of it we need. All right, to make my roux, I'm going to use some lard. Give me a big. There we go. I'm using a combination of lard and oil. I've got some cooking oil in the pan here already, and I'm going to add some lard to that. With Cajun cooking, a lot of people like to use peanut oil. If you don't have peanut oil, you can use any kind of cooking oil that you have. I've been trying to use a lot of sunflower oil because of the problems with canola oil and being GMO, and of course we're trying to avoid soy of any kind. So we try to avoid any kind of soybean oil. So many of our fats and oils, commercial ones, are adulterated with soy products these days. So that's why I started buying lard again instead of vegetable shortening, because I can't find a vegetable shortening that doesn't have soy in it. So that's my little soapbox there. I've got this on high heat, and as soon as it melts, I'll start adding my flour. We'll see how much I need. Let me get me a cup and I'll measure it as I go. I'm using half cup measure. Yeah, I find I just love these for scooping with. They're just the right size. They have a handle. I don't get my hands all dirty. I know how much I'm putting into things, and it just helps me to get things in and out a lot easier. Plus, you know, a measuring cup's designed to loosen things, right? To be able to eat, to be easy to pour out of. So works very well. It's funny, we all have our own favorite spoons and things. We have one. This one is Paul's favorite spoon. It was his mother's. It might have been his grandmother's before that. It goes back pretty far. But it's wonderful. It feels good in your hand. It's just the right size. The handle is Bakelite. It's got a real solid feel. It's weighted nicely. But you have one too, I bet. I bet you have a favorite spoon. Okay, now then, once I start doing this, I can't leave it. I have to keep stirring it constantly. There's 1 cup. Using my whisk here, so I can get all the lumps out of it. can see it. See how that's heat on high. I'll turn it down a little bit once I get this all incorporated well. The other way you can remove all your lumps from this brown flour is to put it in a jar and give it to the kids and have them shake it. That'll kind of knock the lumps out. Or you can just mash them out with your fingers. If you're just doing a couple of cupfuls, you can just kind of get in there and mash on them. I'm going to be standing here stirring this for probably about 10 minutes. It still needs to brown some more in the oil, so I'll be back to show you how it looks when I'm finished with it. All right, I'm back. I have been cooking and stirring for about 12 minutes is what it took me. This is I've got my roux now, the color peanut butter. Can you see that? Okay. Trying to learn how to do this myself where I can see what I'm doing. All right, now it's very hot, and what I need to do now that my roux is the right color, is I need to start adding some of my vegetables, and that will stop it from cooking. All right, so there goes my celery. This is our celery that we cut up the other day, and we popped it in the freezer so it'd stay nice and fresh until we were ready to cook it. I pulled it out this morning, but it could have come out, in time to thaw out. When you're making your roux, you've got to stir it constantly. I had it on high heat part of the time, and then I dropped my heat back down a little bit if it started getting too much. But you can't walk away from it, because if you burn it, it's over with, and you got to throw all that out and start over. So you don't want to do that. All right, so there's my celery, and now I'm adding onions. Now I'm going to move this to the 2 pans when I get ready to cook the whole thing. But for my roux, with my Trinity, I'm going to cook it all in one pan. That saves me having to stir into 2 pans. I could have, once I got the roux done now, I could move half of it into another pan to cook the rest of these vegetables. But the most important thing is when making that roux, to not have to stir it in 2 pans. It's just double work for no reason. So, all right. Now that I've got that, I'm going to let that sit. Since those are frozen, I'm going to let it sit on low and put the lid on and kind of let those start to thaw out a little bit. Release their moisture in there. And then we'll be back and I'll show you what's going on. Thank you. All right, I'm back. My roux with my vegetables has been cooking for a couple of hours. I've left it very thick because what we're doing, the way I'm kind of putting this together is we're going to serve this tomorrow. I don't have room and utensils into which to store the entire batches for that long. So what I've done is I've pre-cooked my roux, and I'm going to, which is has got all the fragrant vegetables in it. I'm going to add my sausage and the tomatoes. I'm doing a spicy version and a mild version. So I'm going to add the sausage and the tomatoes and the spices to each bucket. These are new, clean, food-safe buckets that I bought just for this purpose. I'm going to divide my roux here into half and half into each bucket. And then I'll add my broth. Since I made my own broth, I've left it from my turkey bones. I have left it condensed so that I can mix it in and have it incorporating into that flavor too, but not have the space that I don't have in which to store it all. These buckets will then go into the refrigerators at the location at the church where we're going to serve it, and I'm going to take them directly over there as soon as I get them in these buckets, and get that refrigerated. All right. I think that's about half. All right, so now I'm going to add my sausage. This is my spicy one. So I'm adding a gallon of sausage there. Ooh, that sausage smells so good. I'm going to add 4 cans. These are 28-ounce cans of diced tomatoes. 3 or 4 cans, just depends on what you like, how much tomato you like in yours. I'll add 4 cans of those. I'm going to add bay leaves. Oh, I can't remember how long ago I bought these bay leaves, but because they're kept in a cool, dark place, they're still good. They still are great. I put them in with my flour to keep weevils out. I'm going to add about this amount. What, about four, Paul?
Yeah. Okay,
I'm adding 4 whole bay leaves. And I'm going to add, what, about a tablespoon of thyme?
Yeah.
About a tablespoon of ground thyme. And some hot sauce. Gotta have our Louisiana hot sauce. There we go. I'm gonna add probably about a half a cup, quarter cup.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, this is the spicy one, so I don't want that much in it. Okay. All right, I'm going to finish putting this together, but I wanted you to be able to see what I was doing and getting it prepared. Whoops. Can't get around that way. Okay, I'm back. This is making 2 5-gallon buckets full of condensed gumbo. I wanted to show you, I'll turn it back on because I wanted to show you my turkey stock. Look at how that stands up. I left it condensed, and look at how it's just as thick a jelly as though it were, that's because of the bones. All the bones, cooking those bones in there, release the gelatin from the bones, and put that in there. I've not added my turkey meat. I won't add that until it's hot and cooked tomorrow. The meat's already cooked and chopped and ready to go in. But if I cook it too long in this, it'll shred up and it won't be good. So I want it to stay in chunks. I'll also add my thawed okra tomorrow about 30-45 minutes before ready to serve. And then I love gumbo filet, and I might stir some of that in at the last minute, and then we'll set some of that on the table to serve with it. So that's pretty much all it is. It's really pretty stuff, and it's coming out great. I will add because this is condensed, I will need to add about 2 gallons of water to each 5-gallon bucket's worth of gumbo when I'm heating it up just to get it ready to serve and finishing the cooking it off tomorrow. And then we'll serve it over rice. All right, I hope this has been helpful.